The media educates, the media informs, the media entertains. But on press conference, we create the platform for the media to engage in a battle of ideas, in a contest that brings out views, opinions, and thoughts that seeks to shape the national discourse and issues and matters of national relevance. My name is Duke Mensa Opoku, and this is how I welcome you to this week's installment of Press Conference on City TV. Tonight, up for discussion, the controversial Ameri deal, the behemoth of a political deal, claimed its first casualty in the person of Boakye Agyarko, a man many consider as to have performed very creditably and perhaps the one who have excelled the most at his vetting in 2017 before the Appointments Committee of Parliament. But in the mix and in the throes of the Ameri scandal and its snowballing effects, Boakye Agyarko is the first Minister of Energy, the first Minister under the President Akufo-Addo administration to be relieved of his position. We look at all that issues and more. Again, following that sacking, 3 or 4 days after, the President shook up his ministers, his cabinet. And in this week, we've had the first ministerial reshuffle. Some say, well, it's just a swapping or just a case of musical chairs. But others believe that this is the much needed injection of a sense of urgency into President Akufo-Addo's cabinet to ensure that he moves his government in the right direction towards the 2020 elections. And the issue that never seems to go away, the matter of the collapsed banks. UT and Capital collapsed last year and they were taken over by GCB. But this week, very, very scandalous details of a report that seems to be coming from some auditing that was done into the collapse of these banks. We have more on that, and all of that will be on press conference tonight. The show is interactive via the WhatsApp line 054-998-6996, 054-998-6996, and on Twitter the hashtag is press conference. It's also live on City TV GH on Facebook. My name is Duke Mensa Opoku. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back and I'll introduce the guests to help me do the discussion tonight. Welcome back. This is Press Conference on City TV. My name is Duke Mensa Opoku. Let me introduce to you now the panel of guests or panelists who would help me do the discussions this evening. To my immediate left is Kobi Fiagbe. Kobi Fiagbe is Managing Editor of the Ghanaian Lens newspaper. You're welcome, Kobi.
Thank you, Duke.
It's your first time. You're welcome.
First time meeting you in person.
You're welcome. Next to him is Audu Mahama, who is Editor-in-Chief of the Custodian newspaper. You're welcome, Audu.
Thank you. Sorry.
And then to my far left is Larry Alans-Dogbe. He's also Managing Editor of the Herald newspaper. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Larry.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll first begin with the Agyarko dismissal and the ministerial reshuffle. But we will play for you some videos that will set the issues into perspective. First, the reactions that have characterized Mr. Agyarko's dismissal from government, and what his brother, who is also a member of parliament for Ayawaso West Wuogon, has to say about his brother's dismissal from government. The last night relieved the Energy Minister, Boakye Agyarko, of his cabinet portfolio. According to Director of Communications at the Presidency, the President's action is born out of the role the former minister played in the botched Ameri Innovation and Amendment Agreement. But from some indications, Boakye Agyarko is not entirely at peace with the latest twist to the Ameri saga. In a post on Facebook today, Mr. Agyarko indicated that after the dust settles, his side will come out. The current fate of the former energy minister and the circumstances leading to his eventual sacking has brought up many reactions. For Energy Civil Society Group, Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, COPEC, the quest to uncover the rot must not end at the sacking of the energy minister. According to the executive director of COPEC, Duncan Amwa, there should be an investigation and prosecution for all those complicit in the scandal.
It is refreshing, it is heartwarming that the president decided to crack the whip to forestall any such recurrence now and the future. We have heard in certain quarters that Mr. Boakye Ejiakor probably didn't act alone. And so we think that the onus would lie on him squarely if he thinks he was equally misled or things were misrepresented to him as a minister. If there were actors who pushed him into this deal, we think that the earlier he explained to all and sundry, the better we will get to the end of this whole saga. Indeed, the industry is one that if you lie today, it will catch up with you the next day. The president has taken a very bold step. We commend him. And we think that if Mr. Ejiakor indeed didn't walk alone on this agreement, and there are other persons so connected, the onus would lie on him to come out to say that indeed he had no hand and that things were pushed on him to do.
In a rather interesting turn of events, the communications specialist at the Energy Ministry, Nana Opondo-Damoah, has resigned. He was probably the lone voice that strongly defended the botched Ameri Innovation Agreement. Okay, so that was a news item putting in perspective some of the reactions that have followed after Mr. Boakye Ejiakor's dismissal from government. We have another video where his brother expressed his opinion. That was on Big Issue yesterday. We would play that in the course of the program. But now let's get into the studio and do the discussions. I begin with you, Kobe. The president has, as the appointing authority, has the power to appoint and, quote, disappoint. But in this issue, the question that is lingering on a lot of minds is Mr. Boakye Ejiakor's sacking from government justified?
I don't think. Good evening to our viewers and to the cherished followers of this program and ourselves. But I don't think the question is whether there is justified or not justified. The question really is, why has Ejiakor been fired? Because so far, as we are aware, there is nothing that shows that Ejiakor has been fired because of the Ameri deal, notwithstanding what you said the director of communication has said.
Yes, there was he spoke to us.
I'm not disputing that.
Yes, and said that was the reason why I was fired. Except you want to disagree or
so let's
information that
let's look at it. Ejiakor has been a member of this government, and from everything that we have heard, this government works as a team.
Yeah.
In fact, just yesterday or 2 days back, former Lands and Natural Resources Minister Peter Ame was on your network saying that they work as a team, and this is the most collaborative government ever in the history of this country. Yeah. And that everything they do it as a team. And so obviously this Ameri deal was also part of what they do as a team. Now, this deal was presented by the then minister to Parliament on the executive authority of the president, not the finance minister, on the executive authority with the president's signature. So obviously it is something that he did not work on alone. As we speak today, that paper that was laid before Parliament, which some are telling us that the president was misled on, is still before Parliament. You are a parliamentary correspondent. You know that when a document is not supposed to be in Parliament, it is withdrawn. But to the extent that the document is still before Parliament, why are we then say that Ejiakor was sacked on the basis of
Parliament? That? Parliament is on recess.
No, but you don't get it. Parliament being on recess is not that. When was Ejiakor removed from office?
Monday.
Yes, but when Ejiakor presented the document, they had opportunity to withdraw the document.
But the cascading effect has come.
But the point is that
after Parliament,
they had the opportunity to withdraw the document. They didn't withdraw it. Why didn't they withdraw it?
Because that's
not as if there was no opportunity to have it withdrawn.
Let's set this in perspective. Before Parliament went on recess, the matter was still being considered by the committee until the point where both the majority and the minority, of course, under the prodding of the minority, decided that the document did not come with some key critical things that should have been added. So it should be stopped.
You are just making my point very, very nicely for me. As at the time Parliament was going to rise, the majority believed in the sanctity of the agreement. And the majority is from the fold of the party that forms the executive. Meaning that they believe in the sanctity of the agreement. That is why they did not withdraw it. Even notwithstanding the prompting of the minority. Notwithstanding the promptings of the minority, they believe so much in the sanctity of the agreement that they didn't want to withdraw it. Indeed, when you monitor the communication of the minority and the majority and the executive at the time, the whole agenda was to make the whole thing into an NDC MPP debate. The good fortune of this country is that civil society groups saw through the document and decided that no, this is not something we'll keep quiet on, and they came on the side of the minority, which was otherwise, if civil society had kept quiet as they often would have, this thing would have died down as an MPP NDC.
So the sum point is
my sum point is that Ejaku is just being made a scapegoat.
Being sacrificed.
And this is illustrated further by the fact that when he was given an opportunity to resign, he refused totally to resign. He says that, look, I'm not responsible for this.
As we speak, we don't know of anything in the public domain which suggests that he was given the opportunity to resign. It's new information you are giving us.
Are you sure, Duke? Duke, today is Sunday. Put your hand on the Bible and say you are sure of what you just said.
No, I mean, we don't know anything in the public domain.
You haven't heard anything like that before, but until now. No.
We are journalists. We hear a lot of things.
Okay. I'm glad you are saying that you are recanting from. You are just hearing for the first time.
We hear a lot of things.
I'm glad.
That is not to say that.
I'm glad you are recanting from. You are hearing for the first time from me. You see, Ejaku flatly refused. No, but are you aware he was given the opportunity to resign there? Are you aware of that?
Well, I've not. I don't have it.
You have heard.
Officially, no, I've not.
I like that, bro. I like that.
Make the point.
My point is
so that we can.
And that is even better illustrated by his Facebook post that says, "After all the dust is settled, you will hear my side of the story." Look, like you said, we are journalists. We do background information. When the thing blew up first in Parliament, one of the first people I spoke with is a very top guy in the MPP. And he was like, look, you guys, you have to stress on this thing. This thing is not coming from Ejaku. This thing is not coming from Ejaku. You have to stress on it and make sure that this deal is killed. Because it is so bad a deal. I mean, you have bought an equipment, this equipment. I've bought it on credit for 5 years. I've paid 2 to 3 years off on it. It's left with 2 years, then the equipment becomes my own. Somebody comes and says, look, you know what, that was a bad deal. That was a bad deal, and I'm now going to give you a good deal. And the good deal is that the 2 years that is left for you to pay off, he's stretching it for 15 years, that making you pay double what you are supposed to pay. And this equipment has a lifespan of only 20 years. And so by the time they are saying that you are paying for 15 years, you are left with something virtually like a scrap before the equipment becomes your own. When the equipment could have been yours in 2 years and you would have run it for 15 years and even sell it if you want to. And this is a government that told us that they are coming with management, and that is a disappointment for most people. When you talk about saving the public and protecting the public purse, these are the things we are talking about. There is a deal. In 2 years, the equipment become ours, and we pay. Yes, you may say that the tariffs you are paying before it becomes ours is a bit on the high side, but compared to when we are going to have to pay over $400 million in 15 years to what we have, then virtually. And so my point really is this: Ejaku is only being made a scapegoat.
He's been sacrificed.
He's being made a scapegoat, and that is why he refused to resign. And that is why he is saying that after the dust is settled, his side of the story will be heard. And I'm just hopeful and prayerful that Ejaku will not be prevailed upon by his desire to lead the NPP to protect those who actually prepared the deal and handed it over to him to take to Parliament, because those are the who today have stood up against him.
Okay, but before we don't know if Ejako's brother, the Honorable Emmanuel Kwabena Martin Ejako, believes or thinks the same about what has happened. Well, it could be for politics. Let's listen to what he had to say on big issue yesterday.
The issue touches, when an issue touches you personally, you must be very guarded. And that is exactly what I will attempt to do here. Let me say, without equivocation, that government, and this government is, and the success of this government is more important than any person. No person is indispensable. And whatever it takes, this government must succeed. Who said what and who did what, all of it is immaterial. I will want to stick to the official, what the spokesperson for the president said, that the president feels that for the sake of this country, for the sake of the people of this country, and for the sake of his administration, the minister has to go. And I think that is what matters.
Yeah, but he connected it to the Ameri.
Yes, it is because he has looked at it. It did not go well. So for the sake of this country, for the sake of Ghanaians, and for the sake of his administration, the minister has to go.
So that's MP for Ayawaso West Wogon, Emmanuel Martin Ejako. There's also another Ejako in government. That's Dede Difie Ejako. That's the ambassador to South Korea.
Yeah, so
that's also their relative.
That's also, yes. That's
so let me run out.
But let me run out. Come back to this issue.
I just want to run out.
Let's I will do. Yes, make it contribute to the
I'm not sure it is entirely true that, but for the minority, this deal would have been passed in Parliament. Because when this deal was referred to the Committee on Mines and Energy, you know, Committee Mines and Energy is made up of both majority and minority.
Yeah.
And it is both members, it's members from both sides who considered the bill and saw that there were problems with it and asked for better particulars, further and better particulars to inform themselves what to do. It was at that point that the bill was deferred. The agreement was deferred. And you know, Parliament, when committees ask for further information, bills, they are normally deferred, and that was what happened. But the question as to why Mr. Ejako was sacked is still something that has not been answered, as my brother said. As we sit here, I do not know why he has been sacked. Notwithstanding what
probably for the details of it.
Notwithstanding
from the director of communications that was over his role in America.
Well, since when has officialdom become the source of gospel truth to journalists in this country?
What I'm saying is, why was he sacked? Because apparently he misled the president. Because you sack somebody for wrongdoing, and even the deal itself has not been approved. For us to say that it has caused, the deal has caused, what he did has caused financial loss to the state. So why do we sack him? Is it because we say that he has misled the president? Is he the one who misled the president? That's something that we do not know. Because just to say that, oh, it's because of the Ameri deal that he was sacked, I do not take it. Because somebody should be sacked for wrongdoing. Is it that, as I asked, he misled the president? Because you normally consider that such a deal will go through a certain process before it gets to Parliament. And did it go through all the processes before it got to Parliament? If it didn't go, who was to ensure that?
You would agree with me that right after the statesman's report that the president was misled. Yes. That was a report from the statesman that the president was misled. Yeah. The cause became apparent. There was some sort of groundswell building up. If indeed Jaco did that, he must go. The president must. And you know, even before the president came to office, the president has had this position that he's a quote no nonsense figure. Yeah. So it was building up, and when it happened, people said, "Well, we told you the president was going to crack the whip." Sort of. Does that not fit into the narrative?
No, Duke, it doesn't.
Moro,
let me respect tomorrow. Look, you know what? It doesn't. There was a groundswell of opinion for what's the name? The tall guy who was sacked
the boss guy.
Last year, there was a groundswell of view that he should be sacked. The president rather came to Flagstaff House and meet the press and defended and cleared him. So it is not true that it is because of the groundswell.
But president will always sack someone based on something. As we said, it's solely speculation. As you said, it's solely speculation that it was based on Ameri. But I do not agree. In fact, I do not agree, because you sack something for wrongdoing. It's just a misleading of the president that has causes. If it is the misleading of the president.
I mean, a lot of people consider him as one of the brightest people in government.
This is somebody who has come into government.
Anyway,
we've seen stability in the energy sector, and people say that is a hard-working minister. So there must be something that we do not know.
It is just February. The president himself called him tireless.
Well, I mean, he was someone who was hailed
because. Is he the only person?
Vetting, 4 hours of drilling.
So we
drilling, I should say.
Yeah, we should be told whether he actually misled the president.
Okay, Larry.
And what is the nature of the misleading?
What am I to speak to?
Is this move justified?
See, first of all,
bearing in mind the fact that the president has the power to appoint and disappoint.
First of all, I will pick it from this point. I'm getting sick and tired of journalists trying to give excuses for government actions. Government failures, we are ready to give excuses. Government successes, we are out there praising it, and so on. We are not spokespeople for government. We are not. And you see, we can't expect. I'm coming. Okay. We can't expect Ghana.
That's to say,
I'm coming. We can't expect Ghana. Yeah, sure. We can't expect Ghana to be better, and then at the end of the day, every day, what we do is to be given excuses for government. When we do that, people get disappointed in us each day. Okay. Now, what is the claim about Ejaku being the brightest spot in government? What is also the claim about the president says that he's a no-nonsense person? What is the claim about groundswell for people to be sacked? And as Kobe pointed out, there was a groundswell for the dismissal of Alfred Obing when he sold the contaminated fuel.
Adulterated.
Okay, adulterated. Okay, he didn't sack him. He rather defended him. Then, the Herald came out with a story about, the sale of crude oil at discounted price. To date, that hasn't been investigated. He only sacked the man. The issue is hanging. This one too. And besides that, Kenny GVG, that this man, what's his name? Franklin Kujo and others have, followed up so much. Has the president, looked at it, considered it, even spoken about it? No, he hasn't. And we say that, the man is a no-nonsense person, and that anytime he likes, nobody could draw anything closer to him.
But Larry, president will only act based on facts available to him.
So has he considered the facts?
Yes.
And another thing, what I'm saying is, can I finish?
President can only take decisions based on facts available.
Can I finish?
Yes.
Okay. The same president, had people put under investigation. One of them is who? Pius Ednam Hajide. Whether or not there is a police report, you and I haven't seen that report.
No, there's a demand for it.
There's a demand for it. Are you one of the people who have, who have called for it?
Well, I believe it should. I believe the full details should.
Okay, but I have colleague journalists who are justifying the president's action. Once the president says it's
from the issue about, and this is not to put me on the defensive, but from the days of when there was the rampant fires, some Israelis came to do some report, and there was a demand for it to come out. Some of us have always been of the view that in promoting open governments, some of these reports should be made public.
Okay. I hope you know.
I am here. So who is supposed to be questioning? Who is supposed to be supporting what government is doing? And yet I'm questioning why Ajaku has been sacked.
That's what you're supposed to be.
No. That's what you're supposed to be.
Okay.
I didn't realize that.
I thought that was the
No, I didn't realize that at all.
Larry, you're concluding on that point.
Oh, that's an interesting revelation.
No, I didn't say that. I think that is a thinking that you may have.
You can finish up that.
You know, listen, first of all, this whole Ameri thing, Ajaku, I think it's just one of the actors in the game. Again, let me cite Herald. We have followed issues about the energy sector right since last year. And we've spoken about how the president's family has, raided the energy sector. We mentioned his brother. We mentioned Gabi. We mentioned many others who are connected to the family. And so that signature, the executive order signed by Nana Asante Bedi Etuo, okay, it is not out of the ordinary. Yet, Ajaku had been fired, and Bedi Etuo is still there. Who authorized Bedi Etuo to sign that particular document?
The president, of course.
Who authorized him? Under what circumstance?
The president.
Listen, again, there was a ministerial committee that, what's his name? Addison was part of. Addison was the chairperson of that particular committee. Vicky Bright was part of it. Vicky Bright and Addison are today working for METCA. METCA, which is, the owners of Miscellaneous.
Some of these...
You tell me you don't know. You haven't heard. You are in parliament. I've covered parliament before.
I know, like, but some of these claims we can't verify.
These are matters that must be proven.
Because
can I do it simple for you? Can I do it simple for you?
I mean, are you saying? I want clarification. Are you saying you cannot authenticate it now? Which is understandable, or you cannot verify.
You cannot authenticate what you are saying now.
Yes,
that's the point I'm making.
That is the point.
But you can verify it afterwards.
Let me show you how you can authenticate it. Let me show you how you can authenticate it. Go and find out on the day that Vice President, former Vice President Emi Sata was being buried, while the minority members were at the funeral. Okay, the majority members were actually in that committee discussing this particular agreement.
What is the matter?
And during that meeting, during that joint committee meeting, Addison was in that meeting. Vicky Bright was also in that particular meeting.
They were part of the team that did the first ministerial committee.
That ministerial committee was destroyed by the documents by the Attorney General.
But they were not there as representatives of METCA, as far as I know. Because we were there, we asked questions. I saw them, but
then you said you couldn't authenticate the things that I'm saying.
Speaking to the point about METCA, they being representatives of METCA. That's what I said.
I mean, it's the same thing. It's METCA, Miscellaneous.
But the fact about authenticating that is the point I was on. Not the fact that they were.
You saw them there.
Yes, I saw them.
You never bothered to ask as to what they were doing.
I'm saying that they came as part of the ministerial committee that had done the previous job. And if you look at,
I'm saying the ministerial committee's work was destroyed on the basis of the Attorney General's report saying that there was nothing wrong with the Ameri agreement, the initial Ameri agreement. That's what I'm telling you.
Duke, I have been a print journalist for about 18 years now, and it is not everything that newspapers write that is right. So we get it wrong, we get it right. And therefore,
it is not just a newspaper, it is,
journalist. Yes, but you have mentioned your paper. Herald is a print, is a newspaper. I am saying that it is not everything that we bring that is right. We get it right, we get it wrong. And therefore, if we bring out something it is not proven, we cannot say what we have written is the gospel.
What is proven is that Ajaku presented a deal in the name of the government to Parliament.
Yes.
The bill passed through the processes that government the agreement passed through the processes and got the president's approval to be laid to Parliament.
An executive order.
On executive authority to be laid before Parliament. Now the minority looking through the
majority actually.
Well, I know
majority was going to approve of it.
That is not true.
No, you see,
that is the problem.
Let me even concede this.
That is factually inaccurate.
Let's capture this.
Let me even concede.
The question is,
let me even concede that it is the majority and the minority came together and agreed that they should put the deal on hold.
Yes.
Yet, immediately after that, the majority members of that committee were on radio lambasting the minority for raising these issues and that they were against the Ghanaian people.
Sure about this.
Thank you that you said you are not sure. Thank you that you didn't say it is not true. No, I'm glad you said you are not sure.
You know what I'm saying is,
you know what? Can we make some progress?
You just make the point.
Because
how this is going to reduce tariffs, how this is the best deal that Ghana can ever have, how the previous deal is so bad that this is the best thing that could have come. And when afterwards civil society joined the fray and tore the whole thing into shreds and exposed there was nothing else for the president to do, because otherwise he would have been standing alone. The reason why I refuse to take your thing about he acted on a groundswell of public opinion is simply this: you will realize that civil society did not join the call for the dismissal of Alfred Obin last year. If civil society had joined, I'm sure he would have acted. And this is not right. Investigate the matters. Unless you know something that we don't know.
I think COPEC did, and then
unless you know something that we don't know.
also spoke about it back then, but the president wasn't interested.
What we have to do right now is to encourage Ejaku to feel comfortable, to have the courage to have to speak and tell the matters that he wants to speak about once the dust settles. We should not allow him to feel intimidated. We should not allow him to feel that his political future is in jeopardy because he's an MPP, and should he come out and speak out and it goes against the MPP, it will destroy his political future. We must encourage Ejaku as a Ghanaian citizen to come out and speak truth and tell us who prepared the document, in whose bedroom the document was prepared before given to him to take to Parliament. And I know what I'm talking about.
Duke, I disagree with my colleague that if minority had not raised the issue,
that's the beauty of democracy.
The agreement would have been passed. I'm saying that we are in Parliament, and we know anytime majority wants to pass anything, they do it. They do it, and therefore, if the majority did not support minority in this matter and they wanted to pass it, it would have gone through.
And I mean, this is not the
first time. It's many instances where
majority MPs who have come out to say that they were against this.
Yeah, exactly.
You heard them.
Yeah, exactly.
They said it publicly.
They said it publicly.
Like Matthew Nyendam and Co.
Nyendam and Co. And Fuseni and the others, MP for Kwakwe North. They
said it before
because they wanted better and better particulars. Yes.
We never heard.
Yes. That is why the thing was referred.
I never heard.
It's getting heated. We'll take a quick break and then we'll be back. This is press conference on City TV.
Spend 30 minutes every weekday catching up with all the trending social media conversations of the day. If you tweet it, we'll read it. We might just even Skype you.
Just, no matter your situation, you can rise to the top.
Absolutely.
You really
and
can.
It's interesting that he wrote this article on the 17th of June, and on the 18th of June, yesterday, he actually scored 2 goals in the Belgium World Cup meet.
30 minutes is all it takes, so use the hashtag 30minutes on social media to catch our attention. Join the most interactive social media TV show weekdays at 5 p.m. only on City TV.
This is press conference on City TV. My name is Duke Mensopo. The show is interactive via WhatsApp line 0549986996. And before I went on that break, we were speaking to the issue of the sacking of Boakye Ejaku as Minister of Energy. We'll quickly tie that into the ministerial reshuffle that followed. John Peter Amewu has been appointed in his place. Energy Minister Kwaku Asomah takes the seat of Amewu as Lands and Natural Resources Minister from Bono Ahafo region. John Kofi Ada is now Minister for Aviation from Sanitation and Water Resources. Cecilia Dapa takes the place. Dr. Mustafa Abdul Hamid is now Minister for Inner City and Zongo Development. Kojo Oppong Nkrumah is now Minister of Information. Cynthia Morrison is now Gender Minister. Colina Tangoba Abayagi is now Upper East Regional Minister Designate. And we have Ivan Topoku Bobi, from Deputy Regional Minister to Substantive Regional Minister of Bono Ahafo Region. Oti Jacob Martin is Deputy Regional Minister for Bono Ahafo Region. Honorable Boniface Abubakar Sadiq, Minister of State at the Office of the Vice President. Roxanne Bukari, former Upper East Regional Minister, now Minister of State at the Presidency. Pius Enam Hajide, now Deputy Minister for Information. Perio Kujeto, Deputy Minister for Youth and Sports. Otiko Afisa Jaba is now Ambassador Designate to Italy. I'll begin with you, Larry.
For me, first of all, I saw the reshuffle as a diversionary tactic.
Okay.
From the everything.
Which it is.
Like,
it was.
We've had this reshuffle was nothing for his being out.
Yes, but then it came handy. Exactly, it came handy
for over a year.
Over a year, when the president invited his ministers, they put it out there that he was doing
assessment.
Assessment, and the assessment, the person who did the report on which the president was assessing the ministers on was actually also a minister. That is Honorable Osei Akoto. So how can you be assessing?
No, that's the work he's been given to.
Okay, thank you. But then I'm saying that today, and people kept demanding for a reshuffle because then they noticed that the government, it's not moving the way it's supposed to be moving. So they kept asking questions as to when, the reshuffle will come. The reshuffle came, and it was like a drop in an ocean. You pick Mustafa Hamid and go and throw him there. You pick.
He says it's a higher calling.
He says
it's a higher calling.
Well, he is to tell you that it's a higher calling, but then yours is to observe or analyze as to whether or not it's a higher calling or it's a demotion. If you had been the president's spokesperson while in opposition, and then you come into government, you had done so well, and then you come into government, and the man is moving you from being his Ochami to becoming one of the you are one. Ahinkwa, okay. Then you ask yourself.
Oh, that's what the Zongo ministry is about.
No, you don't get it.
This is one of the distinct missions of the president.
You don't get it.
And so
he's saying,
appointed
from the spokesperson of the Ohene.
No, and I'm saying you are classifying the Zongo ministry as being prior and passion.
No way. Ahinkwa is the one that the chief sends around, right, on errands.
Well, and so I think
so to that extent, he's sending you.
Every appointee serves at the mercy of the president. So just to
so he's an Ahinkwa.
So then you ask yourself, there were some major ministries where people were expecting some reshuffle,
like
housing ministry, communication ministry, finance ministry, which one? Roads ministry, and then Attorney General's ministry, and many others.
No, virtually mentioning all the ministries. Virtually mentioning all the ministries.
No, I'm not mentioning ministries that impact on these are key ministries.
And so far, I think the ministers so far are not performing, so they should be changed.
Education, health.
Otherwise, what would be the basis for asking for?
What has happened to health? What has happened to education? What has happened to communication? What has happened to housing? Affordable houses that we were promising, What has happened to fisheries? Agriculture, what has happened to it? Listen, these are the president's family and friends. He couldn't have touched them, and that is what he did. He just, used Ameri as an excuse to just move people, to divert attention from, whatever it's happening on the ground. And so he touched some of these ones. Nothing has happened really. What exactly had happened? What change are you expecting? What were we expecting before? Or what had we expected? And what are we to expect now after the change? Nothing.
So for you, there's no bright spot in this?
I don't see it.
Nothing, no high point in this?
The highest point I saw was that the man was just trying to divert attention from Ameri, which is refusing to die.
Okay.
And people are still asking questions as to if the Attorney General didn't draft the agreement and didn't write an opinion in support of that innovation agreement, who drafted it?
Okay.
My friend is so much interested in Ameri, he doesn't want to move away. In decisions
you are not interested.
And we are moving on. We are all interested. I'm saying that we are moving on. We are moving on.
Oh no, I'm just saying that.
I'm saying we are moving on. I'm very much interested in Ameri, but we must move on.
It's clear from the discussion we had. We are all interested in Ameri.
Look, in decisions like this,
are you interested in?
In decisions like this, look, Duke, in decisions like this, whether reshuffle or what, or appointments, people have divergent views. Some may like it, some may not like it. But constitutionally, Article 58, all power is vested in the president. Executive power of this country is vested in the president.
But don't forget accountability.
Yes.
Don't forget political accountability.
Exactly. Because the president, that is precisely why everything is vested. The power, executive power is vested in the president. And he takes all decisions. In any case, all ministers that he appoints work in his name. They work, he directs them what to do. He delegates powers to them, and therefore he puts every minister where he thinks is possible to work to his satisfaction. And that's what he does. He appoints ministers to where he feels that this minister going to this particular portfolio will perform for me. And that's why he has done. Decisions like this will always bring these kind of disagreements, because even God, when God decides, some people disagree with God. How much more a mortal?
But some say it's just a shuffling of, I mean...
Why not? Why not? If after 1.5 years, after 1.5 years, President decides that this person has been here, he has worked for 1.5 years, I think that he will better serve this country by, if I move him to...
people are even making some suggestions. You know, President Akufo-Addo introduced the novelty in his government when he was appointing ministers. He gave them certain benchmarks in front of all of us. They mentioned names. So, I mean, in reciprocity of that, we're also expecting that in moving them around, probably some reasons would have, cut it.
Well, that is, we'll go back to the Constitution. Constitution doesn't say that President... Constitution doesn't say that... You see, that is a problem. I always talk about Constitution. We live under democracy, and we are ruled by the Constitution, which is the supreme law. It doesn't say that if a president is reshuffling somebody, the president must give us reasons why he's doing that. If we want the president to do that, then we must be looking at our constitution.
Stop giving excuses for government.
It is not an excuse. It is not an excuse. I am saying it is not an excuse. If we want presidents to be answerable to us in all matters, we should be speaking to the constitution. Why do we give all powers to virtually everything to the president? This constitution gives virtually every power of this country to the president. This constitution that we are, and that is a problem we have. So if the president acts, if we have a president who wants to act the way he wants, we cannot turn around and question why
the people who give meaning to the constitution.
The problem is, so let's hear
the constitution on its own. Couldn't be asking the president, Mr. President, why have you?
And I'm saying that it is the constitution that has given. If the constitution is the constitution that has given the president the powers to do what,
so he can do anything.
No, we can question the president based on law. We'll question the president if he acts.
Because if you continue like this, our viewers may not get.
So I thought it's a discussion problem. So why they want to discuss
it should be done in a way that
no problem.
Our viewers can see the best out of it.
I would allow me the privilege of becoming a spokesman for Duke in this instance.
Oh, how?
Because
the man can speak for himself. He's a host.
For now, I'm not.
He's not relinquishing that
authority to you.
Executive order.
No.
Give us executive order.
As a spokesperson, not authority at all. You see, the issue he made in relation to the precedent set by the president is not based on constitutionality. It is based on what you yourself set out and showed us that this. Wait, I'm coming.
No,
by the time I finish, you understand.
Okay.
The constitution does not tell us that when the president is going to appoint anybody, he should tell us why he is appointing XYZ.
Thank you.
Yet this is a president who took the unprecedented step of telling us why he is appointing XYZ and what he expects of them. And so it is on that basis that Duke was saying that on the basis of such, it is expected that when you are moving them away or you are bringing in new person, you will inform us that, oh, okay, I gave XYZ an assignment, he's been able to do it up to this and satisfactorily or unsatisfactorily, or so much so well that I need him in another place. I think that's what he's talking.
Is that what you are asking for?
No, I think that is, and I agree. I agree totally with that viewpoint. But then, I am not surprised about the reshuffle. The timing of it, and in politics, timing is everything. You have been in parliament and you know it. Timing is everything. I'm not surprised. The reason why I'm not surprised, when the cash for seats saga hit, and just at the time that the report was coming out or becoming controversial and everything, the president needed to come out and be seen as anti-corruption how do you call it, activist. And so at that point, what did he do? He lined up a number of appointees whose names have been in the media for one form of alleged wrongdoing or the other. I'm talking about Clenham, I'm talking about Alfred Obeng, and they sacrificed them on the altar so as to be seen.
No, but cash for seat was around, was in March. Alfred Obeng and Co happened just.
I am talking about when the report was ready, bro. I'm not talking about when the event took place.
What report?
The investigative report by the parliamentary, you understand? Check the timing of it. That was just when. And so, some of us
have my doubts about that, but I mean, that's a given.
Masa, you have a smartphone. Masa, you have a smartphone. You also have a smartphone. So let me make progress. But while I'm making progress, you make use of your smartphone. Please, while I'm making progress, you make use of your smartphone. You understand? That was the timing of it. And this is another instance when the whole country, virtually the whole country, is up in arms over this Ameri thing and say that, look, this is fraud. This is an attempted fraud on the people of Ghana. This is an attempt to rape the national purse by the executive acting through Ejaku. And so people were up in arms. He needed to be seen as a strong leader. A strong leader who does not koto to any of those things. And so first, what do? Sacrifice the Jaku. Second, you must be seen to be on top of your government. And so immediately you do come out with some form of reshuffle that creates the impression that you are in charge. You understand? And that is exactly what
it was more of a
it is a charade.
Into a strategy more
than a charade. It is a virtual charade that is not going to achieve
that. To clear this catch for seat and this the connection. The catch for seat.
I'm talking about the time
around March.
No, the report didn't come out around March.
Paul and I were in Parliament when this thing was dealt with.
We will leave the discussion on the reshuffle here.
So for me, that reshuffle is really meant to achieve nothing. The only thing that I am happy about is that my friend and brother Kojo Oppong Nkrumah has become elevated to become a full minister. That is what I am happy about for him as a person. He's a nice gentleman. He knows the media inside out and all that. That is, for me, I'm happy for him. But beyond that, it's just a charade. It's a charade that is aimed to create a
I want you to do an academic exercise. Count the number of journalists who have appointments within this government. The last time I counted, I had close to 20-something. And yet, its information is not going down. Yet, you know...
By what... I know I always interrogate...
Yes, listen,
by what measure?
Okay.
By what
now, let me tell you.
It's a sweeping statement.
Now, let me tell you. Do you know, Assad, January, February, thereabout, okay, Mustafa Hamid had issues. He had issues. To understand that, listen, I mean, the attempt to remove Mustafa Hamid was in the air long ago. That is, government communications not going down. At a point in time, even Gabi took to social media and wrote that he's happy that somebody, Yao Boabia Samoa, had taken over the, the communication wing of the MPP.
That's a party. That's a party.
No. Can I draw the... Can I draw the...
There should be a...
No, I'm coming. I'm saying that.
But
would you allow me?
Yes.
You won't allow.
Make that point quickly.
We are not mixing everything. We are mixing party communication and government communication.
He said that, you know, he's happy that he's taking over the party communication to help government communication, to support government communication. Exactly. I saw that.
Okay.
Oh, you didn't see it.
So let's.
And then hours later, John Wedu came out. Hours later, John Wedu came out and said that, listen, Yabuabi had him be appointed and that Aduma Kubefi. Okay, so you know the story. It was still the communication.
I know that, but I thought that it was
the communication person as far as the party was concerned. There's a difference between
party communications and government.
We haven't heard of Aduma Kubefi.
Anyway, so we would move on to the. Having
been in government before, I can tell you that there is no when you are in government, the government is from the party, and so government communication impacts on the party. No, impacts on the party.
Okay,
party communication impacts on government, and so there can be no delineation between the two.
I count the number of journalists in the system. You get government's information hanging.
So why do you have director of communications of political parties and also have
move on to the issue of the banks? This week there was fresh information. I mean, from here we've done our own analysis that the liquidity support of some 860 million that was given to UT and 610 million given to Capital Bank ended up in went round various issues, and to the fact that this week the Christian Council called for the prosecution of the board and officials who are complicit in this. Let's watch that quickly and finish up this evening show with a discussion on that.
Wants to commend the governor of the Bank of Ghana and his team for exposing the rot in the banking system in Ghana and for actually closing down 7 of the banks. We also want to place on record that the Christian Council of Ghana thinks that all those who are culpable in this matter, be they staff of the Bank of Ghana or directors of the closed banks, should be prosecuted, should face the full rigors of the law as much as possible. Because the amount of money that we hear has gone into this bailing out of these banks is enough to do a lot of social interventions in our country.
So that was the rep of the Christian Council. Quickly, let's look at this issue. Here at City 97.3 and on CTT, we've done our own analysis that the money, that's a total of 1.7 billion Ghana cedis in terms of the liquidity support that went to Capital and UT, if they had been used into procuring some equipment in the health sector. For instance, incubators, we could have purchased some 6,125 incubators with that. Kobe, this whole issue and then the fresh information that's coming up. For instance, UT, we are gleaning from the report that the CEO took 5 million Ghana cedis loan that's supposed to have gone to the bank and took it personally. The issue of Capital Bank, we are hearing that about 80 million cedis of the liquidity support was used by one of the shareholders, majority shareholders, and put into all sorts of businesses. There was even the issue of some money even ended up going into the formation of Sovereign Bank, which has also collapsed.
Masa, when I hear, I was reading some of the reports earlier, and my heart bleeds for Ghana. Not because I think that what has been done is unheard of, but it's because we have built institutions and populated them with people that we are paying with the taxpayers' money for them to oversee and prevent things of this sort from happening. My question is, what has been the supervisory performance of the Bank of Ghana over the years? The liquidity support is not from the Bank of Azerbaijan. It's from the Bank of Ghana to the various banks.
Yeah.
And when we say liquidity support, I am not an economist or a finance or account person. I'm just a simple journalist. But my understanding is that you don't have cash, and so they are giving you some cash to do your business so that you pay back after you've made profit on it. So that is what I will understand liquidity support to mean. And if that is what it's supposed to be, I don't understand how that money would now be used in something we call business promotion. So where was the Bank of Ghana who gave the money to the banks for liquidity support, when those banks were using that money for business promotion, when those banks were using those monies to loan to their board chairmen and board members and community. So yes, I agree with the Christian Council rep, or if it's the institution itself, whatever, that the individuals involved must be prosecuted. But we must not make the Bank of Ghana feel that they can go to sleep. They can go to sleep on their responsibilities, and then when everything comes to a head, it is only the people who will be dealt with, and they will not be dealt with.
Okay.
It's a sad spectacle, because at the moment, for me, these things shows that we cannot really claim to have a Bank of Ghana that we can have confidence in.
Okay, so you are Kobe. Let's. I mean, I would like you to end.
You don't want me to, because
I like you to make the point. End the point.
I'm coming to the point. I'm coming to the point where some of the people involved. Yes.
So the other two finish in time, we'll give you the last.
But if they don't finish in time, I don't get to get the last one. So let me also finish in time. So that when I finish in time, then you can have the time.
We've had like 3 minutes so far.
So those individuals involved who are seen as icons in society must not be shielded by any stretch of the imagination.
They must be prosecuted.
We must bring them to book and let them cough. Not just, Matiamidu said something. It is not enough to prosecute. We must recover. We must recover as much as we can. Some we cannot recover, no problem. But that which we can recover, let's recover. And the process must start now. Let's not say this man is a high person in this society here or that person. I'm not going to be personalizing things. So that is my position on the matter.
BOG has slept on his job for a very long time, and that's why these things are happening. Thankfully, they are beginning to act, and what we are seeing is important. It's good for this country. We hope that all those involved, we are going to pump about 7 billion of taxpayers' money.
Over 8 billion.
It's over 8 billion of
we
taxpayers.
Pumping,
over 8 billion. We are going to pump this money into taxpayers' money to resuscitate all these banks. You see, so all those involved. Whilst we are looking at letting them the new consolidated bank stand on his feet, we should also be looking at people whose actions or inactions causes. We should be looking at their prosecution. We cannot continue to let them go scot-free.
First of all, I think that the call by the Christian Council it's an order. However, I think before we get there, I think we should do an independent probe.
Okay.
Because who supervises the regulator? Okay. The regulator went to bed long ago to understand that this revelation that they actually gave money, 162 million Ghana cedis, to a bank that Dr. Mensah Otabil has an interest in, Beige Capital, where exactly. And the icons of society, the guys who have been projected as the guys who were, they are doing well, and so on and so forth. This is the situation that they have brought us into. Dr. Mensah Otabil, oh, listen, I'm coming. No, you can decide to argue the way you want to. Reverend Professor Adai. Exactly. A lot of Reverend people in there and so on. And I mean, this is where we've come. And 8 billion Ghana cedis. Do you know how many roads that can do in this country? Okay, how many hospitals this can build? How many schools that we can we can put on the ground, and so on and so forth? How many amenities that water, electricity that can be extended? But somebody sitting somewhere is actually gotten this money, and they've bought properties in America, properties here, properties there, and so on. Any serious country, and I'm happy the two of you cover Parliament. I mean, the UK Parliament by this time would have, set up a huge probe. There are
indications that the Finance Committee may be looking at this.
Would have set up a huge probe and do a public hearing for all of us to hear. And talking about, this thing, Okay.
All right. So that's Larry Alansdogbe. He's managing editor for the Herald newspaper. So sorry for that. And Audu Mahama is managing editor for the Custodian newspaper. Managing editor for Ghanaian Lens is Kobe Fiambe. And thank you very much for joining us on this edition. That's how we draw the curtains on tonight's show on press conference. We'll be back same time next week. We'll be right back same time next week. My name is Duke Mensah Opoku. Keep watching City TV. It's your world. Good night.
You are sure you're human, but have no human rights. And when you die, there is no proof you ever existed. Every 10 minutes, a person like this is born. 10 million people in the world are stateless. They have no nationality and are told they don't belong anywhere. But everyone